Today, basically, our TEA award winner Dr. Yike will share his excellent teaching experience, and we'll also do some prize presentation for the TA and SPA. But I just want to borrow some time to do some promotion of the upcoming Teaching Excellence Award and Student Projects Award. So basically, I will give you a brief. So this is the agenda for today. I will give a very brief introduction of the SPA and TEA and talk about the application timeline and procedures. And then we will do a very simple award presentation. So this is a relatively informal one because in November, in the upcoming Info Day, we will do a formal prize presentation. And then, but the most important part is that we will present the cash reward today. So, and then finally, the main part is that our TEA winner, Dr. Yang, will do some sharing. So I just want to give you some brief introduction of the TEA and SPA. So actually, it was the last year 2022 and 2023 was the first TEA and SPA award of Hong Kong University. So this award was organized by the ATLC and the TLDO Teaching and Learning Development Office, and also part of the university's initiatives to promote innovative and effective teaching and learning. So the objectives of these awards are basically very simple. We want to create an atmosphere for teaching and learning excellence, encourage some innovation and creativity in teaching as well as learning, and very importantly, we want to promote peer learning so that no matter for students and teachers, we can learn from each other. For teachers, we can learn from other teachers' teaching pedagogy and innovative teaching methods, use of educational technology. For students, we can also learn from others, like how they integrate their idea into project-based learning. So, and finally, we want to improve both teachers and students' teaching and learning experience. Just some factual information, some practical information for the TEA, the eligibility. So basically, all full-time teaching staff in Hong Kong University are eligible to apply for the TEA, but they need to teach in HKSYU for at least 2 semesters. Full-time staff, and then have taught courses equivalent to at least 9 credits in the review period. So it can include undergraduate courses. The 9 credits can include undergraduate courses, postgraduate courses, departmental core courses, elective and GE courses. So basically all kinds of courses. And open to individuals only. And not team teaching is not considered at this moment. Because I know that for some other universities, sometimes the Teaching Excellence Award will consider team teaching. But for now, we will only consider individual teaching. And the evaluation is based on teaching in individual courses. It means that it is basically course-based. So when you apply for the award, you need to nominate a course that you are teaching. 即係我哋係根據你個 course 嘅教學質素去做嗰個evaluation 嘅，而唔係個老師 overall 教晒所有 course 嘅嗰個評價嘅，係啦，即係嗰個 course 係嗰個單位啦。So the course is the units for us to do the evaluation. And then for Student Projects Award, basically we only accept student projects in undergraduate courses, including GE courses. The project itself needs to account for at least 20% of the course grade. So both group and individual projects are eligible. And here are some examples of the student projects. Basically, we received a large variety of student projects last year. So including research projects, both quantitative and qualitative or mixed method, and then community-based projects. So this is quite common in, for example, Department of Social Work. And then design projects, some program evaluation, multimedia projects, creative writing, etc. So one very important criteria or inclusion criteria is that the projects must be an original work of the students and should adhere to all ethical principles and copyright regulations. So when you apply for the Student Project Award, students actually need to sign an originality declaration form. So to tell us that this is actually their original work, and we will also do plagiarism check. So I think this is very important information. What are the application procedures? Basically, it is very simple. You just need to fill in an application form. But we ask for a lot of information in the application form. But basically, you just need to fill in the form. So for Teaching Excellence Award, the teachers need to fill in the application form in which there is a space for you to write down some teaching statement. So within 800 words to summarize your teaching strategies. So you can try to address these 4 questions. So for example, how does your teaching of this course go beyond traditional teaching pedagogy to adopt innovative teaching and assessment approaches? and or how does your teaching of this course demonstrate the ability to engage students, cater for learners' diversity, or utilize education technology to facilitate classroom interactions and deep learning. So it sounds very terrible to have all these criteria, but you can see that this is and or. It means that if you can excel in one of these criteria, it may be enough for you to get the Teaching Excellence Award. So these are like and or. It means that all these criteria will be considered. And in your application form, you can also seek nomination from the department head, but this is optional. So this kind of nomination will strengthen your application, but this is not a must. And also, students' nomination is also optional. And these nomination forms are encoded in the application form. So some teachers will also provide the following materials to showcase their teaching and learning activities and assessments. For example, they will show some pictures, videos, or some sample of teaching materials or assessment tasks. So these kind of materials can showcase like how you adopt some innovative teaching methodology. So previously, some teachers basically provide some sample of student assignment, some sample of their teaching materials, particularly multimedia materials. And this is the timeline for this year. So the awards will open for applications from April the 1st. And then the application deadline is July, by the end of July, 31st of July. And then we will spend 2 weeks for the evaluation until like the end of September. And in mid-October, we will announce the results. And in November, we will do the prize presentation at the information day. So I've already discussed with the UAO so that we will do the prize presentation in the info day so that it will be like done in 即係無論係校內定校外嘅人咧都會睇到嘅隆重嘅頒獎儀式。Okay, so these are the selection criteria. So for Teaching Excellence Award, we focus on 3 criteria: innovative and effective pedagogy, effective application of educational technology, and interdisciplinary perspective. Again, you don't need to meet all of the criteria. So if you think that your teaching in that particular course can like excel in one of these criteria, you can already apply for this Teaching Excellence Award. And so as the Student Project Awards, we focus on academic quality, originality, and potential impacts. So whether your project can help to fill in some research gap or like help to address some practical issues in daily life. So actually, we have formed a selection panel that consists of university senior management members and also some other teaching staff representatives from different faculties to evaluate the submitted application. And sometimes we will ask for additional information upon the request of the panel members. For example, when they review the application and they said that they want to see like the sample of the assignment from the teachers, then they may ask for additional information or materials from the applicants. So the award, later you will see, we will have like cash prize and then a trophy and a certificate of award. We have designed a very beautiful trophy. And then we will have a coverage in TLD website and newsletter. I'm not sure whether this is award or burden because Dr. Yang will know that he needs to do some interview and some sharing. So I'm not sure whether this is burden or award. And then we'll also do the prize presentation in the prize presentation ceremony. I think most importantly, as what I said at the beginning, the goal of this project is to stimulate peer learning. So that if you have some very good practices in your class, you have some really good projects. So instead of like hiding it for your own or like for your course teacher's evaluation, we can also share it with others to stimulate some peer learning so that we can learn from each other to build a good atmosphere for teaching and learning excellence in the universities. So just brief summary of last year applications for TEA, Teaching Excellence Award. We received 24 applications last year. And then basically they demonstrate a very wide range of teaching strategies, such as like mini flipped classrooms, good use of multimedia materials, and gamified learning. And students' feedback from these, on these courses also suggested that these teaching strategies were effectively used in a way that support personalized teaching and deep learning. So these are 2 elements that were frequently raised in students' comments. So this year's the winner is of the TEA. We received like 24 applications, and then it is actually not easy for us to select the like most outstanding teaching case among these 24 applications. 咁啊，即脫穎而出嘅就係呢個楊一可老師啦，咁啊 from the Department of Chinese Language and Literature. So perhaps now we can do a very simple prize presentation, and then we will do it again in November. Sorry about that. 今日趁你 sharing 就影張相先。Okay, so some summary of the statistics of the SPA. So this year we received 44 applications, and from basically all of the departments, showcase a large variety of projects from research projects, product development, business plan to community project. So the evaluation committee found that the projects are very innovative, many of them, and also they also highlighted that these projects have good potentials to address some real life or theoretical issues. 咁其實咧，基本上喺個傾嘅過程入邊咧 some members even suggested that maybe we should give them some funding to further develop the project. But we just don't know whether the students like this idea or not, because this is like another assignment. 我俾啲錢你再做多啲啦，咁樣。So now I would like to announce this year's winner. So the first group is like from the course Conceptualizing Art and Culture in Modernity. 咁呢個係一個好有趣嘅 project，就係做一個 AI 嘅一個 art 嘅 showcase 啦。咁有3個同學係喺呢個 project 入邊嘅。咁我上面頒獎啦，好嘛？咁就 Chan 英月、張開義 and Chan 志軒未嚟？哦，唔緊要，咁入住我戶口先啦，嗰個。咁我哋頒咗第2個先，咁就係Adoption and Use of Digital Technologies in Museum, a Case Study of Hong Kong Palace Museum in the Course Art and Everyday Life in Digital Era。咁有馬志磊、令超、胡義亨、Chan Ling Jin 同埋 Wang Jingni。好，咁跟住咧就係一個好有趣嘅 project 啦。咁其實亦都係 from Dr. Yang 嘅 course 嘅。咁就Department of History 嘅4位同學啦，傅永宇、連正義、黃海英同埋李仲明。好，嗱，你見我點解頭先講得咁快咧？因為我要留翻啲時間俾 Dr. Yang。That's why I spoke so fast, because I want to leave most of the time for today's main character. So the TEA winner, our first ever winner of the Teaching Excellence Award, Dr. Yike from the Department of Chinese Language and Literature. And he will do some sharing about his teaching philosophy, which is the main content of today's ATLC workshop. So let's welcome Dr. Yang.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Tao, and thank you all for coming to today's sharing session. Before I start, I would like to express my gratitude to some people. So first, I want to thank the Teaching and Learning Development Office and also the selection panel for their review and also the final decision. I know it's a tough decision because we do have so many excellent teachers and so many very great nominations. And also I want to thank those who have contributed to the development of the course IDP 401. So especially the guidance and support from Professor He Yufeng, Professor Robin Yang, and Dr. Wang Gake. And also I'm very grateful for all the students for their support. And also I know many of my students have nominated this course. So that's why I owe a lot of thanks to them. And lastly, thank you all for coming to this session. So before I start, today I will try to keep it be brief, but after that, if you have any question, we may discuss. Okay, and because later on I will share Bob's project. So probably if you have questions about that particular project, you may also have some nice conversations with Bob. So nowadays we know that, well, whether you are an expert in technology or not, we know that technology is everywhere and is so important for modern world. Right, and so that's why we are also trying to make use of technologies in our education. So that's why we have actually the ACLT workshops. There is an technology part. So for that series, you are of course encouraged to register for those workshops. So first, I want to introduce this framework to you, the European framework for the digital competence of educators. Because nowadays digital competence is so important, so that's why we are also trying to promote the digital competence for the educators. This framework was developed by the European Union, but it's of course, originally it was aimed for the Europe. But I think it's also nice for us to take some reference to this framework and to see what is expected for digital competence, especially for educators. So actually, this Teach Compared to is dedicated towards educators at all levels. So just from kindergarten to adult education and from general education to special education. So basically it includes everything. So let's have a quick look at the components. So in general, there are 6 different areas under 3 types of competencies. The first one is the professional competence. As you see, the area is professional engagement. And the second one is pedagogical competence, so about the pedagogy, about teaching, which has digital resources, including how we select, how we evaluate, and how we manipulate different types of digital resources in our teaching. And also the teaching and learning, of course, that should be the key, right? And also how we assess the students with the help of digital technologies. And also how we empower our learners with the technologies. And lastly, the last competence is from the learners' competencies. That means as educators, one of our aim is to facilitate the learners' digital competence because especially for the future world, the digital competence is so important. So that's why this is also considered as one area of the Teach Compared to framework. Okay, so for this framework, there are 6 levels. So which here I presented the progression model of this framework. So as you can see from A1, the newcomer level, all the way up to C2, the pioneer level. Okay, so that means we have from the very basic or just some awareness of the digital technology till we are so good at this, we are so advanced, and we can even provide some pioneer work in terms of the digital technology. Okay, so here I would like you to take part in this. So could you just use your phone to scan this QR code? Because I want to have a very quick survey. Okay, so just one question about your digital competence. About your own self-assessment of your competence. Okay, so if you scan this code, you should be able to, okay, I'll leave you some time. Okay, then you should be able to access this page, the U reply system. So later on, I will introduce this one as well. So for this time, I know many of you are teachers here, but please choose student because now I want you to participate in this survey. Okay, so please choose student, and here you only have to enter the session number and you don't need to enter your student ID or your name. Okay, so please enter 1487 here so that later on you will be able to access the question. And I'll show you the question here. Yeah, the question is, how would you, I think, so how would you assess your digital competence in terms of the Teach Compared to framework? So there are 6 options. Okay, so from A1 to C2. So what do you think you are currently? So do you think you are a newcomer or leader or a pioneer? So just choose from A to F, and then we'll be able to see your results immediately. Let's see. Okay, we have a lot of like, some of us are still wondering, right? Still thinking about which one. So just think about your level of digital competence in terms of the education. So just choose any one. I think Philip should be pioneer, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we only got, I think we have 7 more who haven't submitted. Oh, you haven't submitted or? Okay, so let's have a look at the results. Oh, okay, but it's good that we have, yeah, we have a leader and also an integrator. Okay, that's good. So this is a way of like collecting instant feedback from the class. Okay, very good. Thank you. So later on, I will introduce this system and recommend this as well because this is very useful. And yeah. Okay, so this is the outline of today's sharing. So first, I will very quickly introduce my teaching philosophy in general. Okay, and after that, I'll introduce the course IDP 401. And then I'll introduce some technologies and also techniques to engage the students in class. Lastly, I will showcase some projects from the IDP, from the W23 IDP 401 class. Okay. So first, let me very quickly introduce my teaching philosophy. So first of all, I cater for the student-centered learning. Well, because we know it is so important, right? Because we always have very different students. They have very different backgrounds, abilities, and also needs. So that's why we do have to consider the students' cases. Okay, and yeah, if we want to if we want to provide a student-centered environment, of course, we have to emphasize active engagement and also personalized learning because there are so many varieties in terms of the students' situation. Okay, and also we have to try our best to develop their critical thinking and problem-solving skills in their own ways due to their own characteristics. Okay, so that's my first piece of philosophy. And the second one is the lifelong learning, because nowadays it is impossible for us to teach everything in the classroom because there are just so many new things, right? Even for technology, we know that there are numerous technologies that are coming out. And as for the applications of technology in any field, it seems infinite. Okay, so that's why it is never possible for us to teach everything. So that's why we have to encourage our students and also ourselves to become lifelong learners. So that's why I'm trying to promote continuous learning beyond the classroom and to make sure that our students are willing to become lifelong learners. And thirdly, of course, because earlier on I've shown that technology is very important nowadays, and also they are very convenient for us to really make the class more engaging. Okay, so that's why I'm trying to integrate technologies in my teaching. And well, of course, there are several benefits of making use of technology. For example, we can create an engaging learning environment, and we are also able to promote collaboration. So which I'll show some examples later. And we can develop the digital literacy skills among our students, which is also one name of our university. We also want to develop the digital literacy of our students. Okay, then I will introduce the course IDP 401. The title of this course is Digital Technologies in Teaching. So probably you wonder, why is the Chinese department offering this course? Because it doesn't sound very Chinese or even not so arts, right? But still, this course was developed by our department. So the reason was that it was back in February of 2022. So at that time, I just joined Xuanyu, and we were developing some course proposals for our education concentration in Chinese. So the education concentration in Chinese was launched in September of 2022. Okay, so that's why at that time we were preparing some course proposals. And we formed a working group, and there were like several members of our department and also some external experts. So, and that's how I had this chance to develop a course proposal called for the digital technologies in Chinese teaching. But later on, Professor He Youfeng suggested that maybe we can consider developing this into a course for education in general, but not just for our departments. So that's why eventually we changed the course title to Digital Technologies in Teaching. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention that the background. So for the education concentration, so now currently we have three departments that are offering education concentrations. So the Chinese department, the English department, and the history department. So that's why this course is an interdisciplinary elective for these three departments. Okay. Um, so that's why we were able to develop this course, and of course after I've got a lot of input and help from all the colleagues, internal and external. Okay, so eventually I was able to refine the course, and it finally, got the approval from the QAC, and so that's why it was offered in January 2024. So last year for the first time, and this semester I'm teaching this course for the second time. Okay, so a very quick overview of this course. So yeah, as I already introduced, it's an elective for the education concentrations in these three departments. Okay, and the aim is to introduce new technologies used in education to the students and also provides them with an opportunity to explore how to incorporate those technologies in their teaching. Because the students, so as for the contents, this course covers areas such as AI tools, XR, GIS gamification, 3D printing, as well as other new technologies. Because I said the students are from the education concentrations, so that's why all the students aspire to become teachers in the future. And so the focus of this course is how technologies can be used for their future career to facilitate their teaching in the future. So that's why all the activities and assessments are related to applications of the technologies in teaching. So here are the ATs, the assessment tasks. The assessment tasks, so as you can see, well, apart from 81, 82 is lesson design. So they have to design a lesson, a 40 minutes lesson with at least 2 digital technologies. And then they need to have a teaching demonstration in the class. And then there will be a peer evaluation session, which I'll introduce later. And for 85, contribution to OER, open educational resources. I will also mention this towards the end of this sharing session. So okay, so next, the third part, I want to introduce some. I just want to share some experience of engaging students, and I'm sure many of you may have other ways that are also very helpful. So you are welcome to share with us as well. So the first one I want to introduce is the student response systems. So actually, so what we have already experienced, the U-reply system. Okay, so these type of systems, well, of course, there are different names. For example, classroom response systems or clickers. Okay, so these are the tools that can be used not only for face-to-face classroom teaching, but also for the online scenario. So this type of systems are very useful, very helpful for us, especially to facilitate interactivity, because the teachers can get instant feedback from the students. Okay, and the students can actually get involved in the class as well. And also, this type of system would enhance the feedback processes on multiple levels. So depending on what type of questions the teacher is interested in. Okay, and also the teacher would be able to collect data from the students immediately. For example, if in the past, if we don't have such types of system, then if you ask the students, for example, to write down their answers, then it might take a while for you to collect them and also to analyze them. But because we have the help of those systems, we can get those results and analyze them immediately. I'll show you some examples very soon. So of course, there are some benefits of those systems. Okay, so the first one, to maintain the students' attention, right? So because you are actually throwing out a task to the students and they have to attend to the task, right? So that's why they need to be attentive. And also, we can promote active student engagement, okay? Because everyone is supposed to participate in this survey or test or quiz or whatever, okay? And also, this would be able to promote discussion and collaboration among students. So just now, what I provided is a one question survey, right? But of course, there are other ways of SRS tasks. Okay, so later on, I will show you a page. And also, this will create a safe space for shy and unsure students. We always know that there are some students who are so shy or not that confident to speak up. Okay, so this type of systems would keep them very safe, and they would be willing to share what they think about, or even if they have some questions, they can actually type and let the instructors know. Okay, so that's why this is also very helpful for some particular students. And as for the teachers, it's very good to check for the students' understanding, especially when you are teaching something that's a bit challenging. Okay, so with the help of the SRS, you will be able to understand, okay, whether the students are doing well or not. If not, maybe you can adapt part of your teaching materials. Okay, and so, for example, if you are using, well, I think many systems nowadays can generate the word cloud, so which would be very helpful for you to understand the students what they think about a particular question. Okay, but of course, the question must be it should be an open question in order to generate the word cloud. Okay, so as for the implementation, of course, first we have to determine the purpose of the questions. For example, just now we did this. We did the survey, right? So that's just an example. That's just a demonstration of how we can make use of a student response system. Okay, so that's the purpose of that survey. Or maybe you want to check students' understanding of a particular concept. Okay, or maybe you want to get the students' feedback on, for example, whether you want to have whether you want to change the schedule of your course. Okay, so anything. And then you need to determine which type of question would suit your needs. For example, if it's MC, the multiple choice question, or is it an open question, or fill in the blank question. So all depending on what you want. Okay, and of course you need to research and determine which system is best for your case. So here later on, I will introduce two systems which I think are very useful, and I've been using them a lot since I joined Xuan. Okay, and then of course you have to prepare effective questions in order to get what you want from the students. Okay, and after that you also have to develop follow-up questions or follow-up activities based on the results, based on the responses from the students. Okay, and lastly, which is also very important, you have to test the system well. Why? Because if the system works well on your desktop, it doesn't mean it will work well here in the classroom, right? So that's why the suggestion is that whenever you want to try something new, you have to test it in the classroom. So that's why it's better to maybe arrive a bit earlier to try this system, and also to have some backup plans, because in case it doesn't work, you will need an alternative activity, right? So yeah, here are some of the tools, some of the student response systems tools. There are a lot of them, and I'm sure you have tried some of them. For example, like Google Forms, Kahoot, or our uReply. Okay, so these are a lot of people are using those. So I want to introduce this uReply to you first, because it's very convenient to use, and also because we have subscribed to this one, so you don't have to pay. Okay, so this one was developed at CUHK, the Chinese university, and we have subscribed it, I think maybe 2 to 3 years ago, right? So with the funding of Jason's, and then so that's why this is very useful. So just click this link, and you will be able to visit this page. So if you are participating in a survey, then you have to choose student in order to answer the questions. But if you are designing your questionnaire, then you have to choose teacher. Okay, even though you are a student, because we have subscribed to uReply, so even all our students are able to create questions with the teacher role. Yeah, so you just choose teacher, and then you will be able to log in with your webmail account. After that, just click this question bank. Okay, click this question bank, and then to add a quiz. Okay, choose this add quiz, and you will be able to enter the name of the quiz. So please note that you will be asked to check the availability, because of course, if another quiz is named this one, you are not allowed to use this name. Okay, so after you have checked the availability, you will be able to create this quiz. Then just click this quiz. You will be allowed to add item. Okay, so that means you can add several questions in the question bank under this quiz. Okay, so this is the interface for when you adding the questions. You will be asked to add the title of the question, meaning how you name it. Okay, and there are different question types which you can choose from. You will see that there are a variety of them. Okay, so just choose the correct question type, and then the interface will be different for different types of questions. Okay, so after that, you just go back to the home page of uReply. And if it's just one item, if it's just a one item survey, like what we had just now, then you can click basic. Okay. But if you have more than one item, then you choose this multi item, which will, and when you enter these interfaces, what you have to do is to get the questions from the question bank. Okay, and another thing I want to share is the activity. So if you click the activity, you will be able to see there are a lot of varieties that we can choose from. For example, group competition, speed challenge, level challenge, pick or random. hand raising or peer review. So a lot of activities that we can consider incorporating in our class. Okay, so and well, of course, if you want to know more about uReply, there are several resources. So first, the TLDO office website. Sorry, the TLDO website has a page for uReply, and of course other student response systems. And also in the HLC Moodle, there are some resources. And in our CSC website, you may also find some resources. And lastly, it's the official website of uReply. Okay, but because this one is kind of based on the CUHK version, so I would recommend the previous three links if you want to know more about uReply. Okay, and next I want to very quickly introduce Microsoft Forms. So, well, also because our university has subscribed to Microsoft Education. Okay, so that's why we are using the email and the Microsoft email Outlook as well as the OneDrive. Okay, so this is very convenient. We can again do a lot of useful stuff with Microforms. So here I will very quickly show you how to create a form with Microsoft Forms. Okay, so first, when you enter the front page of Microsoft Forms, just select new form, okay, and then you will be able to see something like this. So you may provide the title and subtitle for this form, and then when you select add new, you will be able to add a new question. And again, you are allowed to choose the different question types with Microsoft Form. And a benefit, an advantage of Microsoft Forms is that you can actually customize your page. Okay, so for example, you are allowed to select the theme, and you may even upload your own photos if you want. Okay, so that's why that makes it more flexible. And as for the respond options, you choose from these. For example, anyone can respond, or only those in my organizations can respond. Okay, or maybe specific people can respond. And after that, you will, of course, need to share the form. Okay, so there are different ways. For example, the first one is the link, or the second button will generate an QR code. Okay, and the third one will generate an embedded link. And lastly, this one will send out emails to specific recipients for you to share the link. Okay. And when you review the results, you can just choose view results and you will be able to see the individual details for the questions. It's also possible to download all the results. So just choose the open in Excel. So we will be able to download everything in an Excel file and view them locally. Okay. Yeah, so that's all about the student response systems. And next, I want to introduce the learning management systems. Well, of course, we are also using Moodle, which is very useful. So I will show you some examples from Moodle. So when we say the learning management system, we are referring to the type of systems that are web-based technology that we are used to plan, implement, and assess a specific learning process. So of course, there are some advantages. The first is the responsive design. So I'm sure you have tried to log in your Moodle with different types of devices. So either it's desktop, laptop, your smartphone, you will see that actually Moodle will adapt its interface just to according to the device that you are using. Okay, so that's why this is very user-friendly. So we can see it, I mean, we can always view the contents in a very well-organized way. Okay, so, and also we know that Moodle has user-friendly interface. And it will be useful for our course management. So I will show you some examples very soon. And yeah, we'll be able to analyze our data, analyze our learners' statistics. So I'll show you, also for this one, I will show you some examples as well. So our university has subscribed to Moodle, and I'm sure every teacher is using Moodle, but maybe some of us are using more of Moodle, and some may not use it that frequently. Okay, but I think it's very useful to really consider using more of Moodle because it's so convenient for us. So here I want to show you, well, there are a lot of stuff we can do with Moodle. Okay, for example, you may design your own banner. So which will actually remind the students about this course. And it will be also easy for the student to recognize, okay, so this is the course, this is that course. Okay, so that's why I think starting from last year, I've been designing my own course banner for each course. So that's why it would be easier for the students, well, and also for myself, because I can see clearly, okay, this is IDP 401, that is maybe CHI 273. Okay, otherwise, I won't get confused. And then we all know that it has a user-friendly interface. Okay, so you can include everything that you want. You can have different modules as instructors. You can change everything there. And as for the course management, for example, you may include the different ATs and include, for example, the PDF file, or maybe some samples in the folder, okay, or maybe an assignment, okay, like this. And also, it's possible to spell out, for example, the weight, okay, and the deadline, so that the students actually know, well, when is the deadline and how much this assignment weigh, okay. And it's also very useful for some in-class activities. So because we in Moodle you can create a discussion forum, and in this within the forum you can create some threads so that the students can actively participate and respond to, for example, so these are the activities or the threads that I've created for this semester's IDP course, so that the students will be able to respond and others will be able to view them. So just like you're browsing another discussion board on the internet, but just for education, no purpose. Okay. And we can also use Moodle for out-of-class quizzes. Well, so for that IDP course, we don't have any quiz. So that's why this is from another course. It's possible to create some quizzes with Moodle, and the students may either attend those quizzes in class or outside the class, depending on your expectation or your requirements. Okay, so this will be very useful because you will be able to get the results immediately, and you don't have to, for example, wait for the students to hand in their papers. Okay, so and you can also mark directly. So and for the MC, for the multiple choices or even filling blank questions, you may ask Moodle to mark them first. Oh well, actually, Moodle will mark them automatically. Okay, so Moodle actually would mark them automatically first, and then of course you can go and check whether you need to make amendment to them. And well, as for the smart learner analytics, so that means we actually, as instructors, we are able to access the students' information. I mean, their activities on the particular course page. Okay, so for example, if I click the information of one particular student, I will be able to see when he or she has accessed which part of this course. Okay, so that to make sure that some important document has been reviewed. Okay, and yeah, for example, we are even able to see how many times the students have reviewed each document. And of course, we will be able to provide feedback in the feedback file for the students' assignments as well. Okay, so for more about Moodle, yeah, just please visit TGTLDO website for those videos. I'm sure you will find them very useful, yeah, especially if you are new to Moodle. Okay, and also our CSC has a page with several useful information on how to use Moodle. Okay, so this is the second technology that I want to introduce, which is very common but very useful. And next, I want to introduce a technique that I have used in class, also which is peer evaluation. So I think peer evaluation is very useful for our students as well. Well, of course, as colleagues, we all have undergone the peer evaluation a lot for our research papers. Well, it is tough, I know, but I think it's very good for our students to experience the peer evaluation, because this will give them like a responsibility. Because if they are asked to review the peers' work, then of course they know that they have the responsibility to be a fair and good reviewer. Okay, so and also this would peer evaluation would enhance the students' learning. with the exchange of their ideas. Okay, and we will be able. Well, the students will learn to give instant feedback to others, and which is also useful, I think, for their future career. So whether they will become a teacher or in any other industry. Okay, and this would also be able to motivate the students to engage with the materials more deeply. Because if you have to provide comments, provide suggestions to others, then of course you need to be more familiar. You have to know this concept more deeper, right? So that's why I think this by peer evaluation, this is also a way for us to enhance the students' learning. Okay, and lastly, well, which is very important as well, because imagine usually we have a class size of more than 20 students. Okay, so if we ask them to evaluate another student's work, so that means that students will be able to receive feedback from maybe more than 20 students, which is very good because as academic authors, we know that usually our papers would only be reviewed by maybe around 3 reviewers. Okay, but imagine if they could get feedback from more than 20 people, then I'm sure the feedback would be much more informative than just from one instructor. Okay, so here I want to show you some examples. So when I taught this course last year, I asked them to evaluate their peers' teaching. Okay, so of course I need to let them know about the regulations, the criteria, and also provide some forms, some ways for them to attend to perform those peer evaluation. Okay, so that was the Microsoft forms. So I will show you some example just for one student. Okay, so this is one review, one comments from one reviewer. So you see that how detailed how detailed and how professional it is. Okay, so let's have a very quick look. The student has used Google Maps to show how the course works and give enough examples to what the application can do. And the interaction of how his target audience will expect from the streets will allow them to immerse themselves into the lesson and helping them to achieve a level of proficiency. And the interactions between the audience and the student himself is great and will allow them to create a bond between them. Okay, and lastly, the assignment from the student is also relevant to his topic and will help audience to achieve a better level of creative writing. So this one was about teaching creative writing, but with different types of technologies, including Google Maps. So we see that this reviewer is actually giving a very fair and professional review. Okay, and we have another review also for this student's demonstration, but it's written in Chinese. Okay, so well, I'll not read it or so anyway, so it's about this area. Okay, I mean with this one to introduce this question. Sorry, this passage. Okay, and then introduce. I really appreciate the use of Google Map. Okay, and also with the solid and the word cloud and those stuff. Okay, and also this teacher encourages the students to think about word cloud to help enhance their writing. And yeah, also about that, the teacher is humorous. And there was also a Google Map game. Okay, so you see that the students are also making use of gamification in their teaching. Yeah, and also about this. Have you been there? So it's quite near. Okay, but yeah. So but and also you see that this reviewer has mentioned some disadvantages. Okay, so maybe the teacher has prepared too much, which should be beyond the 40 minutes assigned time. Okay, so that's why we see this type of peer evaluation can be very useful, not only for the reviewers, but also for the students whose work has been reviewed. Because imagine that student would be able to see more than 10 reviews like this just for that piece of work, and also plus the review from me. Okay, yeah. So I think this would be very helpful for all the students. Okay, both as the reviewers and the reviewees. And next, I want to share another technique, which is experiential learning. So when we say experiential learning, that means we are trying to provide more like try to provide more environment for the students. For example, examples of experiential learning like field trip Okay, so depending on the field, of course. But for our course, for the IDP 401, I arranged a lab visit to our virtual reality lab. So because in our VR lab, there are lots of VR I'm sorry, not a lot of. There are several VR systems. Okay, there are several VR systems. For example, the 3D cave system. Okay, and there are also the different types of headsets for them to experience different projects. Because I think there are several research projects as well as students' work in the VR lab. So that's why when the students go there, they will be able to explore what types of VR systems are available on campus and what types of projects have been done. Okay, I think Simon was once helped with one of the projects, right? Yeah. Okay, and I think the lab visits actually sparked their interest in this topic. Maybe Bob would like to share something later, if you want. So here is the link to our VR lab. Oh, by the way, I will be organizing another 2 lab visits to VR lab in early March. So if you are interested, just let me know. So you may join our lab visit. So this photo, these 2 photos were taken last time for this lab tour. Okay, so this was the 3D cave system, and this was when the lab manager was showcasing the one of the project, and you see the student in red was actually interrupting with the system with a controller. Okay, so so that's that's part. And lastly, I want to share some students' projects with you. Um, so before that, I will introduce what is open educational resource. So these type of the OERs are openly licensed, freely available educational materials that can be modified and redistributed by others. Okay, so there actually, when we say OER, we are referring to all sorts of educational resources. Okay, so it can be, for example, an open textbook, or it can be a website, or it can be, for example, a YouTube channel, or maybe a podcast products. Okay, or maybe even articles, blogs, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you search OER, you will be able to see a lot of materials online, but it's a pity that many of them are in English. So that means we don't really have many OERs in Chinese. So, but it's nice that some of our students have produced very wonderful OERs in Chinese. So I will show you some examples later. So here is the flow chart for the students to make their OERs. So of course they have to do research, okay, and then there is the pre-production stage for them to prepare to collect the data or the resources that they want to include. And then they have to design and develop, and eventually they need to publish their work. Okay, so generally speaking, so after this assignment, I found that this type of task is very useful for promoting collaboration because this is a collaborative work. Well, because it takes a lot of time and effort to prepare an open educational resource. So that's why I advise the students to form a group of 3 to 5. Okay, so that's why they have very good within group collaboration and also demonstrate their creativity. And they actually learn in the real world, as I will show you later. Okay, and this type of task is very effective in engaging students and promoting deep learning. And also because these are openly accessed, these are the open access resources. Okay, so that means they not only learned a lot from the process of preparing for those open educational resources, but because those open educational resources are openly available online, so everybody in the world would be able to access them. So that means their output, their products can actually benefit the whole world who's in need of those resources. Okay. So next, I will show you some examples of those resources. So the first one is from Bob and some other students. They have created a website for a historical event. Okay, saying so let's have a very quick look. So they have specified, okay, so this is for the Chinese history and 中译 secondary form 2. Okay, form 2. Okay, so and so So if we just, we'll be able to see that there are several channels. Okay, so first, an overview, they have introduced who are they, okay, and how to make use of those. And also they've included the references. And this part is also required for this assignment because they have to mention the copyright. Okay, they have to apply for the CC license for their own product to specify what types of, for example, reproduction or redistribution are allowed for others. Okay, so well, of course, this is up to them to decide how they want their CC license to be. Okay, so this is the overview, and let's see what they have got. Here, well, they had prepared several concept maps, for example, about this event, okay, and also about something about the Ming Dynasty. So this would be very helpful for students to make the idea, because we know that there are so many events, okay, and there are also a lot of different issues based behind those events. But with this type of concept maps, this would be much clearer to the students. Okay, and then they have provided a podcast. Let's have a quick look. Well, maybe I show you 30 seconds.
大家好啦，歡迎大家嚟到今日嘅中史小課堂啦。咁我哋今日中史課堂嘅題目係咧鄭和下西洋同埋明代國防嘅建設。咁我係 Carol，
我係 Gina
啦。咁我先講下點解鄭和會下西洋先啦。咁因為咧明成祖嘅時候天下大定啦，佢亦都想去建立明朝嘅威望啦，於是咧就派鄭和出使西洋啦，然之後亦都為咗去招攬外國進行朝貢貿易嘅。然之
So we see that there's a very attractive introduction of the podcast, right? So of course, I believe the learners, once they have opened those podcasts, they would be interested to finish listening to this podcast. And apart from that, they have provided some AR products. So also for the secondary school Chinese history course, then the users need to download this app first, and then they have introduced the Great War. Okay, and then with that tool, with the 101 AR, then you will be able to the students, anyone will be able to view the Great War with the AR system. Okay, and also they have provided the VR. I think Bob was responsible for this, so I'll show you a little bit of this video. Well, of course, we don't have the 3D glasses here or VR headset. We don't have them, but still we can have a very quick look at this system. So which actually shows the situation, the scenario vividly. Okay. And actually, here, I think Protocol has also included some interactive questions so that the students will be able to respond. Yeah, so that the students will, while they are watching, while they are learning this from this material, they will also be actively participate in those quiz, okay, those questions. Okay. So this is this part. And well, they have also made use of GIS, Geographical Information System. So I would also like to show you this one because it's a wonderful product as well. So okay, so actually it's from you can tell from this. Actually, it was from but it's not showing. Oh, okay, so it's from the 1402 till 1433. Okay, so around 30 years of time, and they have visualized the roots of Zhenguo Hasayang. Okay, here. So let's have a look at this one. So 1 second is for 6 months. Okay, so you will be able to see the roots very soon. So you will, maybe I have to zoom it. Okay, so at each time point where they were. Okay, so this was very useful for students to understand the roots and also the relationship between the roots and the time. Okay. Yeah, so if we view this type of visualization, we'll know that, okay, so each time they might have a different root. Okay. And this was very helpful for students to really understand history. That's historical event. Okay, so apart from this, they have also provided some worksheets for students to work on. Yeah, so I will not show you this because apparently you don't want to work on those. Okay, so this is the first open education resources that I want to share with you. And the second one is a YouTube channel. Okay, well, also about history, but let's have a look at this one. This is very different from that one. So here is a YouTube channel. You see that they have deliberately designed their own logo and banner, which are very attractive. Okay, and I will show you very quickly of one of them. Maybe the first one.
香港 history 唔係 history，而係屬於我哋香港嘅故事。Hello， 大家好，我係 Hazel， 歡迎嚟到我講你聽。睇我哋 channel 名都知道咧，我哋專門左講右講，同大家細說香城 history。我哋嘅影片新嘅系列叫做《中環香港電影篇》，喺接下來嘅每個星期都會更新一條影片，帶大家走訪香港經典電影嘅拍攝場景，了解背後嘅香港故事。咁第一集事不宜遲 ，Let's go！ 唔知道喺幾時開始，喺每一樣嘢上面都有一個日期。臭刀魚會過期，肉罐頭會過期，連保鮮紙都會過期。我開始懷疑喺呢個世界上仲有啲咩係唔會過講呢套經典愛情電影嘅下。
Okay, so
我哋可以
use of the GIS system
重慶大廈
to visualize the
沙咀彌
area.
敦道36至44號，鄰近摩地道金域假日酒店，共18層高。重慶大廈前身係一個外科來源嘅市場，稱為重慶市場，建於1941年。喺日佔嘅時期咧，曾經改名為中興。
Okay, so that's all for this part. So basically, they have made use of different types of technologies to introduce those sites in Hong Kong. Okay, so and they have also based on those classical movies as well. And the last project that I want to share with you is about Chinese characters. So this group of students also prepared a teaching website. What happened? Oh, maybe too much information for the PC to load. Yeah, I think. Oh no. Yeah, I think we'll have to wait. Maybe oh, good. We'll have to wait for a while, but okay. What's wrong with the internet? So basically, I'll introduce this first. So it is a website for teaching Chinese characters because we know the writing system of Chinese is challenging. Well, not only for second language learners. So even for us native speakers, when we first learn two Chinese characters, we have to put a lot of efforts compared to learning, for example, the alphabetical systems of other languages. Okay, so that's why this group of students developed this website to teach how to write Chinese characters. Okay, so their focus is on the structure of Chinese characters because, well, we know it is so different from other writing systems because the structure is so important. Okay, so that's why they have provided an introduction to the structure of Chinese characters, and there is also a introductory video for this website, well, which we don't have to watch. And then I will show you what they have got. What happened? Yeah. Let me change the browser. Okay, so this is the front page, and then they have provided some podcasts for different types of, for example, the Chinese radicals, okay, 嗰啲部首、部首 and also for different types of structure like 上下左右嗰啲結構 ，OK， 就是上下左右不同的結構。And can we see? No. Yeah, and because they know that the Chinese learners may speak Cantonese or Mandarin, so that's why their podcasts and also teaching videos are bilingual. So they have provided podcasts in Cantonese as well as in Mandarin. Okay, so these are, and the learners will be able to just download them and work and listen to them. They have also provided some teaching videos and about Chinese cultures. Again, you see that in different types of structures. Okay, the Cantonese version and Chinese Mandarin version. Okay, so different types of structures. Each has a video. Well, each has 2 videos to introduce. Okay, so that's basically this part. And apart from these, they have created like a simple game for the students to explore. So they have introduced some characters written by, the real Chinese characters written by students. Some are correctly written, some are incorrectly written. Okay, so the role of the students is to choose. Okay, I won't download this now, but I'll show you how it is like. So there will be there will be different characters, okay? And then the role of the player is to decide which one is correctly written. So here, apparently we know, well, this is bad. Okay, this is also bad. So you just choose the correctly written character and then you will win. Okay, so of course this is very basic, elementary for this type of game, but I'm sure if they have the time, they can actually develop it into a much more refined game. Okay. And lastly, they have introduced some additional resources. Some are the resources for the students to make use of, and some of them are the resources for the teachers to consider in their class. But I'm not sure, maybe it's because of the server isn't that stable. Yeah, so let's skip this part, okay? Okay. So then, of course, the question would be, was the course W23 version? That means when the course was offered for the first time. Okay. So, of course, I also wondered whether the course was effective or not. So, but at least from their 85, the open educational resources, I think the course was very effective. And I also had other evidence, well, not from the SLEQ, but from something else. So recall that I had introduced this progression model, okay, of the DICH compendium. So from A1 all the way to C2. Okay, so let's see what they have got from the self-rating. So in week 1, we can see that majority of them think that they are just newcomers. Okay, so how about after 1 semester? So I was very happy to see that they have identified themselves as explorers, integrators, or even pioneer. Okay, so, well, I think we only have 1 pioneer there. Okay, but it's good that we have 2 experts, right? So we can see the progress the students have made and also the confidence that they have gained throughout this course in terms of the digital technology in education. Okay, so very quickly sum up this course. So I've introduced some technologies to engage students, okay, including the student response systems and the learning management systems. Of course, there are many more systems, many more technologies that we can make use of. And you are welcome to share with us as well, or register for the HLC workshops. And I've also introduced some techniques to engage our students, including the peer evaluation, experiential learning, as well as collaborative learning. Okay, so here are some take-home message for you. So, just now I have shown some suggestions or some tips from my own class, particularly from the IDP 401 class. But please know that there is no one-size-fits-all approach, okay? Because every one of us has our own unique teaching style, and I'm sure many of them are very helpful, very effective in terms of engaging our students. So that's why you have, my suggestion is to make good use of your advantage and also consider using those technologies to enhance how we teach. But please do not change how you teach simply to match the technologies, because the core is the teaching, but not technologies. Technologies are just the tools that we can make use of. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I have prepared for this part. Thank you very much for coming, and Happy Chinese New Year to you all. Thank you. Thank you very much for this question. It's a very good question. So yeah, about how to cater for the diversity of the students, because we know, well, students are so different, right? So even in this class, although many of them the majority of them identify themselves as newcomers in week 1, but I think some of them are already very advanced in terms of digital technology. Yeah, so for example, I remembered when I was teaching gamification. So one task was to ask the students to develop or to brainstorm some ideas for the gamification. Yeah, then apparently you will be able to see that, okay, some students were so advanced at this, and they very quickly had come up with several ideas. But then others may be struggling. Yeah, so that's why I asked those who were more advanced to help those who were not so familiar with gamification, so that so for one thing they could help each other. So that's facilitated peer learning, and also this would make those students who are in need get special help from those who are more familiar with gamification. Yeah, so I think, of course, we always have to cater for students' diversities, but there are different ways that we can try to solve this issue. Yeah.
好，咁啊，仲有一個呢個係一個喺數視261嘅 course 入邊一個 project 嚟嘅，咁即係講一個 AI artwork 同埋真實 artwork 嘅一個 exhibition，係啦，夾埋一齊嘅 exhibition。咁我哋可以做個簡單嘅頒獎。